Wasn't looking for a ghost story, just a Joe. After I got let go from the depot, hit a guy who thought threatening a vet was good management. I crashed in Travis's garage for a few weeks. His kid had just been born. I was running out of Faviva. I was scrolling through Craigslist at 2 in the morning when I saw it. Overnight site supervisor, Enchanted Valley Amusement Park. Decommissioned. 800 U week. Minimal interaction. Must be okay with solitude. Prior military security experience preferred. Sounded fake, like a creepypasta come to life. But 800 a week. To sit in a dead park, I'd wrestle raccoons for that money. I applied. 2 lines name. Military service. 4 hours later, my phone rang. No caller ID. Guy on the line said his name was Mr. Harlan. No small talk. He asked if I could start tomorrow. Said a trailer was set up for me. Everything you need is inside, including the binder, he said. Just follow the rules. His voice had that calm authority, the kind that either meant he was rich or didn't care if you lived through it. I said yes. The place was off a gravel road outside Mercer Hollow. Dying town. 1 gas station, 1 church, nothing else. As I rolled past the overgrown gate, the park sign sagged above me. Welcome to Enchanted Valley, where the magic never ends. Someone had spray painted over it. Replaced magic with silence. No guards, no fence. Just rusted poles and a loose chain. I drove in. The rides looked fossilized. Roller coasters eaten by rust. Game booths half collapsed. A swan ride sitting in black water. At the edge of the lot, I saw the trailer. 1 dim light on the porch. A note taped to the door. Mason, your binder is inside. Shift begins at sundown. Welcome. H-Goy. Inside, it smelled like bleach and aluminum. Cot mini fridge desk, black and white security monitor. And sitting on the desk, a thick black binder, taped shut, with a sticky note on the front. Do not deviate from the rules. The park remembers. I laughed. Of course I did. Creepy abandoned park secret rules. It was so obvious it was almost funny. Then I opened the binder. Enchanted Valley, night security protocol. Your shift begins at sundown. Walk the perimeter clockwise at the top of each hour. Do not shine your flashlight near the mirror maze after 2 a.m. If you hear laughter from the carousel, stay inside. Do not investigate. If the calliope plays music, return to your trailer and lock the door. Between 3:13 and 3:17 a.m., the clown statue may shift positions. This is normal. Do not engage. Never speak to anyone who looks like a child. We have no guests. If your voice is heard over the PA system, cover your ears and count to 30. Always wave back at the Ferris wheel if it moves. Always. If new rules appear in this binder, read them immediately. They are meant for you. That first night, nothing happened. I walked the perimeter, saw some possums, smelled mold. At 1:58 a.m., I passed the mirror maze. No sound, no lights. At 2:15, I was heading back when I heard something. A melody. Old wheezing off key. It was the calliope, and it was playing somewhere deep in the dark. My flashlight flickered. I ran back to the trailer, locked the door. Didn't sleep. I didn't sleep that morning. Even after the music stopped, after the sun rose and turned the park gold, I just sat in the chair with the binder open on my lap. The calliope had played. The rule had been real. I couldn't laugh it off anymore. Around 7:30 a.m., I stepped outside. The air was thick with dew and quiet. I wandered the lot. Just needed to convince myself everything was still standing, that the place hadn't shifted under me overnight. When I reached the food court, I saw it. The clown statue. Same paint-chipped smile, same frozen pose, but it had moved. It was standing closer to the popcorn cart than I remembered. Not a lot, just a few feet. But it wasn't where it had been. Its hands still mid-applause. One foot slightly raised, like it had taken a polite step forward. No footprints, no drag marks, just closer. I backed away. Didn't even try to rationalize it. Back at the trailer, I checked the cameras. Still static. All 8 feeds were trash except camera 3. The carousel. That feed showed something. One of the horses was missing. An empty brass pole stood in its place, slowly swaying. Later that day, I found a note inside the trailer. No envelope, just a single page on the cot, typed. You heard it. Good. Next time, move faster. I didn't know what terrified me more, that someone had been inside the trailer, or that the calliope had been a test. That night around 10 p.m., I started my second patrol. The wind had died. The stillness was different now. Intentional. Like the park was holding its breath, waiting for me to mess up. Past the arcade. Still locked up. Past the tilt-a-whirl. Motionless. Then I turned the corner into the mirror maze courtyard and froze. There were handprints on the glass. Dozens of them. Small. Foggy. Like a child had been breathing on the panes and smearing them with tiny fingers. But there were no footprints on the ground. No trails. Just the prints. Pressed from the inside. I didn't shine my flashlight. Didn't approach. I walked the long way around. Back in the trailer, the binder was open. New rule inserted. Typed. 10. Do not attempt to record or document the rules. They are not yours. I hadn't written anything down, but maybe thinking about it had been enough. At 3:13 a.m., the clown had moved again. Now it was at the base of the hill facing the trailer, smiling. Closer. I stared at it from the window for nearly 15 minutes, then turned away. When I looked again, it was gone. I didn't sleep. At 5:42 a.m., I found another note. This one was different. Handwritten, thin slanted script. You are adapting. Most don't. The next night, the carousel played again. But this time, the music didn't sound broken. It sounded deliberate. Something was starting. I could feel it. Not just around me, inside me. Like the park was rehearsing. And I was the only actor who'd shown up. I don't think I slept. Maybe I dozed. Maybe my eyes closed for a bit. But my brain never stopped humming. By sunrise, I was twitchy, disoriented, hyper-aware of every creak in the tray. I made coffee. Strong. Bitter. It didn't help. I went out to patrol middle of the day just to feel normal. But the park didn't feel normal anymore. It felt like a stage waiting for the audience to leave so it could come alive. At 1:17 p.m., I checked the cameras. All static except one. Camera 4. The one facing the mirror maze. There was something new. A reflection. Not mine. Someone was inside. Just standing there at the far end of the maze behind the glass. Facing me. They didn't move. I leaned closer to the monitor. And in that frozen feed, they raised a hand. Slowly. Deliberately. And waved. The binder updated again. Rule 11. If the smell is sweet, do not follow it. I hadn't smelled anything sweet. Not yet. But now I was afraid to. Later that night, the popcorn machine turned on. I was walking past the food court at 2 a.m. when I heard it whir to life. Something knocked from inside. 3 light taps. The smell hit me first. Hot butter. Salt. Fresh. too fresh. I didn't check. I backed away, back to the trailer. The binder was open. The popcorn rule had already been there, but now a second note was taped inside. It's learning your preferences. At 3:13 a.m. I saw it again. The clown, this time, right outside the trailer window. Close enough that if I breathed too hard, it might breathe back. Same wide grin, same polite clapping hands, but its eyes had changed. Not painted, looking through me. I stayed inside the rest of the night. Didn't move, didn't blink, didn't sleep. When the sun came up, the clown was gone. Back near the cotton candy booth. But now the words, "well done," had been written in chalk on the side of the trailer. In my handwriting, I tried to call Harlan again. No ring, just static, and a faint sound behind the hiss. Breathing, my breathing. I checked the cameras. One feed was new. Camera 9. It showed the trailer from outside. And on the screen, I was standing there, on the porch, watching myself. I turned toward the door slowly, opened it. Nothing. No one there. But when I came back inside, the camera feed had changed. Now it showed me inside, sitting at the desk, watching the feed. And on screen, I smiled. I didn't smile. Not in real life. But the Mason on the monitor did. Grinned like he was in on the joke I didn't understand. Then the feed cut to static. I sat frozen for a long time. Felt like hours. Felt like days. I didn't leave the trailer. Didn't touch the door. I barely moved. I just kept staring at the black screen, waiting for my reflection to come back and finish what it started. It didn't. The next morning, I opened the Mini. No food, just a Polaroid. It showed me standing at the front gates of the park, smiling. Behind me, partially hidden in the trees, was the clown, watching. Later that day, I found 3 envelopes taped to the inside of the trailer door. Each had my name on it. Each was sealed. The first one was from my mother. I recognized the handwriting. Curling, familiar cursive. Just like the notes she used to pack in my lunch when I was a kid. I'm so glad you got the job, Mason. You've always loved places like this. Do you remember when we came to Enchanted Valley and you didn't want to leave? You cried so hard, but we never came here. Not once. My mom hated parks. She hated Ohio. She died 6 years ago. The second envelope was stranger, typed, government format, stamped with a red insignia I didn't recognize. Subject Mason R. Former military. Discharged 2017. PTSD history. No family ties within the region. Monitored for behavioral drift. I flipped it over. On the back, status compliant. Candidate viable. The third envelope was short. No signature. Just one sentence. You no longer need a name. The park will assign one soon. I burned all 3. Set them on fire in the trailer sink. Watched the paper curl, twist, disappear. But I could still feel them long after the flames went out. Like fingerprints pressed into my thoughts. That night at exactly 2:43 a.m., the PA crackled again, and I heard myself speak. I shouldn't have come here. I shouldn't have come here. I shouldn't. Then silence. Not static. Not feedback. Just silence. A silence so deep I could hear my heartbeat trying to run away. At 3:13 a.m., I looked out the window. The clown was gone. No footsteps, no camera feed. Just gone. And on the trailer desk, the binder had returned. Only this time the cover didn't say Enchanted Valley. Security protocol. It said Mason 03. Obsolescence pending. That's what it said. Typed in bold, clean letters across the top of the binder. No rules inside this time. Just an empty table of contents. A single page had been left. One sentence. Do not resist deprecation. A smoother version is now online. I closed the binder, pushed it off the desk. I didn't want to see those words again. Not because I didn't believe them, but because I did. Later that night, a new feed lit up on the monitors. Channel 9. Camera I hadn't seen before. It showed the trailer from outside. And standing in the frame was me. Same jacket, same scar, same boots. But straighter, calmer, colder. He didn't knock, didn't blink. Just stood there watching, waiting. I didn't open the door, didn't speak. I just sat inside, crowbar across my lap, eyes glued to the screen. At 3:12 a.m., the feed cut out. When it came back, he was gone. There was a folder on the cot, sealed, plain. I opened it. Inside, another single sheet. Your successor has completed the onboarding process. Remaining fragments will be reassigned. You have served your loop. The next night, the trailer clock stopped ticking. The display on the microwave blinked. 000 forever. The reflection in the mirror didn't line up with my movements anymore. It smiled first. I followed. I found another note, stuck to the fridge door. My handwriting, but I didn't write it. You're watching yourself fall apart. The clown never came back. Neither did the calliope. The park didn't need to test me anymore. I'd already failed. Then the cassette appeared, sitting on the desk. No sound. Just a label. Mason Uzo 3. Final entry. And on the back scribbled in a black marker I hadn't seen in days. Play this when you're ready to say goodbye. I stared at the cassette for hours. Didn't touch it. Didn't breathe near it. Just watched it like it might start talking on its own. I didn't remember recording anything, but it had my name, my handwriting, my ending, and I needed to know what I'd said. I pressed play. No static, no rewind hum. Just my voice. This is Mason. Subject 003. Enchanted Valley log. Final cycle. It was me, but too clean, too even. There was no fear in the tone, no confusion, just polished detachment. I've completed the final integration phase. Environment familiarity stable. Memory filtration successful. Emotional compliance adequate. I felt cold, like something inside me was nodding in agreement. But I didn't say those things. Not like that. Not with that voice. Subject exhibited minor instability during the carousel loop and mirror assimilation. However, behavioral thresholds remained within parameters. I wanted to scream. This wasn't a report. It was an autopsy. Of me. By me. Then the voice paused and whispered. To the next Mason. If you're hearing this, it means you haven't fully faded yet. You'll try to fight it. You'll tell yourself you're still real. But the longer you stay here, the more you'll sound like me. One day you'll listen to a voice that sounds like yours. And it'll be giving someone else the same warning. Click. Tape ended. The cassette ejected on its own. And for a second, I wasn't sure if I had just listened or recorded. Outside, the park had changed. It was clean again. Rides repainted, grass cut, lights on. A banner stretched across the main arch. Welcome guests. Enchanted Valley returns. Like nothing had ever rotted. Like I had never existed. The clown statue stood at the center of the food court, holding a balloon. Written on the balloon, Goodbye 003. The mirror in the trailer was gone, replaced with a flat white surface. But when I looked at it, it still looked back, and it smiled. I didn't smile, but the reflection did. It smiled like it was proud of me, like it had been waiting. I turned away, but I felt it watching the back of my neck like it was still smiling, even when I wasn't looking. That night I stopped trusting the clocks. The microwave said 1:12. My watch said 4:08. The wall clock was frozen at 3:13. Even time was trying to forget me. I started scratching tally marks into the desk, one for every hour I thought had passed. I got to 5. Then I blacked out. Not sleep, just gone. I woke up in the Ferris wheel, strapped into a seat. No memory of walking there. No flashlight. No shoes. Just me buckled in and rising slowly. Below me, the park spun in perfect silence. Then from a speaker near the seat, my voice whispered, "That was a good take. Let's try it again." The trailer was different when I got back. Colder, quieter, and on the desk sat a new binder. White this time, embossed in silver. Mason 04. Deployment protocol. Inside nothing. Just one printed line. At 3:33 a.m., open the door. Let him in. Observe. Didn't open the door. I waited. Sat in the dark crowbar across my lap, heart punching holes in my ribs. At 3:33 there was a knock. 3 taps. My rhythm. The same way I tap my knuckles when I'm thinking. They'd copied even that. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just stared at the door. Then came another knock. 2 this time. Off rhythm. Off pattern. Like something pretending it didn't need to try anymore. I opened the door. Slowly. He was standing there. My face. My scar. My body. But better. Straighter. More. Complete. He didn't speak. Just handed me a folder. Turned. Walked into the trees. Inside the folder, Mason Orzo 5, calibration notes, memory installation. Stable behavioral compliance. Achieved predecessor decommission. Pending. Note subject 003 exhibited attachment to origin memory clusters. Memory bleed possible. I touched my face. I could still feel the scar. Still feel heat in my chest. But I didn't feel whole anymore. Just tolerated. Like a bootleg version of myself waiting to be deleted. The next morning I found my boots were gone. So was my pack. So was my name. I looked everywhere under the cot in the closet behind the fridge. But the tags, the dog ID, the initials on my socks, all gone. The Polaroid in the fridge had changed too. Same shot me at the gate, but now there were 2 of us, side by side. One smiling, one looking down. Below the photo, a label, chosen, redundant. I started saying my name out loud every few minutes. Mason, 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 hoping repetition would anchor me to something. But each time it came out a little flatter, like the syllables didn't mean anything anymore. That night the PA whispered, "Your archive is ready," and I knew what that meant. There was a door in the mirror maze now. Not glass, not wood, just a crack in space. It hummed. I got close once, close enough to see my hand pass through. I felt cold, endless cold, like the park had a freezer full of forgotten versions, and I was about to join them. I didn't go through, not yet. Instead, I sat in the trailer, waited for something, anything to change. And then I saw it. The binder on the desk. Clean. White. No number this time. Just one phrase printed across the front. Sleep Sector 4. Begin transfer when ready. I touched the cover. Felt the hum. Not like electricity, like breath. Warm and slow. And from outside the trailer, a voice I hadn't heard in days whispered, "You'll feel better soon. You'll stop trying so hard." I stepped back, looked in the mirror again. And this time it didn't smile. It just looked tired. Like it was waiting for permission to disappear. I didn't give it permission. Not yet. I stood in front of the mirror, breathing shallow hands, twitching like they didn't belong to me anymore. The note on the desk had changed again. Typed in bold. Do not resist deprecation. Resistance will be looped. I whispered no. The mirror flickered, just for a second. And in that flicker I saw him, sitting in my chair, wearing my face, smiling my smile, but with none of the weight behind it. I looked out the trailer window. The park was spotless, too perfect. The rides gleamed. The grass was neon green. Kids were walking through the food court, but none of them were real. They didn't move. They just posed. Plastic mannequins made to look like memory. And at the center of it all, shaking hands, waving, welcomed, accepted. I turned away, sat down, put my face in my hands, and for a moment I didn't feel like I was losing. I felt like I'd already been archived, just waiting for the delete key. Then the screen lit up. A new message. Overwrite available. Do you wish to replace active user? 2 options. Yes, no. My heart stopped. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe that part of me was already reassigned. But something inside me flinched. Some ember of selfhood flared. I stared at the screen. My finger hovered. 05 was still out there, living my life, stealing my name, smiling my smile at people who never met me. I pressed yes. The world didn't shatter. No alarms, just a pause. And then, processing, legacy detected, emotional fidelity above threshold. Proceeding with overwrite, everything turned white. White, endless white, but not bright. Just blank. Like paper that's never been written on. Like a stage waiting for a script. Like me, a faint hum rose around me. Mechanical, biological, like a server room crossed with breath. And in the air, a message blinked into being just above my line of sight. Archive transfer complete. Mason to 3. Sleep sector 4. My feet weren't touching the ground. Maybe I didn't have feet anymore. Maybe I was just thought trapped in a box someone else forgot to close. I tried to scream. I really did. But all that came out was a memory. My father's voice, almost. A porch swing, maybe. None of it stayed. Like reaching for mist with a closed fist. They'd taken everything, piece by piece, until I was the echo of someone who used to bleed. Other voices floated nearby, low murmurs, half-formed. I recognized them. Some of them were me, earlier versions. Mason 001 whispered nonsense in a loop. Mason 002 muttered prayers with no punctuation. I kept my distance. They weren't whole. They weren't fighting anymore. They had accepted the silence. But something in me, some corrupted sector, refused. A flicker of heat. Rage maybe. Maybe memory. Maybe both. I found it. Buried deep. A flash of grief. A real one. Holding a flag at a funeral. Hands trembling. Eyes dry. That was mine. That pain belonged to me. Not to the system. Not to 05. To me. I focused. Held it. Lit a fire with it. And for a split second, the white cracked. A jagged fissure opened, splitting the space in front of me. And through that crack, a menu. Simple. Clinical. Do you wish to overwrite active user? Yes. No. 005 felt it. He screamed inside me, furious and afraid. Too clean to be human. Too new to handle loss. Smiled my smile, not his, and pressed yes. Nothing exploded. No alarms, no sparks, no screams. Just stillness. And then, warmth. Real warmth. I felt sun on my skin, wind on my face. When I opened my eyes, I was back at the park gate. The real gate. Rusty, empty, faded paint. The Welcome to Enchanted Valley sign dangled overhead, barely holding on. No crowd, no cameras, no rules, just me. I stepped through the threshold. The grass was tall. The ride stood still. No music, no clown, no scent of popcorn. And yet, something had changed. Not the park, me. I felt heavier, not tired. Grounded, like I wasn't being watched anymore. Like my mind had stopped buffering. Then I saw him, standing near the carousel. No jacket, no binder, just bare arms and my face. He didn't move, didn't speak, didn't smile. He looked lost, or unfinished. I walked up to him. We stared at each other for a long time. Same scar, same eyes, same hands. But only one of us looked tired. Only one of us looked like we'd lived. He blinked, said quietly, "I was perfect." I nodded. "You were." He tilted his head. "Why did they choose you?" I shrugged. "Because I hurt." He looked down at his hands, then turned and walked into the maze. No sound, no goodbye, and he never came back out. I stood alone in the park for a while, breathing, remembering. Not everything came back, but enough did. Enough to feel real again. Enough to know that I was still Mason, or at least the version that mattered. The trailer was empty when I returned. No desk, no cameras, no binder. Just a note pinned to the wall, typed. No name. "Thank you for completing the emotional fidelity trial. Legacy has been reassigned. Session closed." And in the mirror, just me, not smiling, just breathing. And that was enough. The days stopped counting after that. I stopped marking them, stopped checking the clocks, stopped wondering whether someone would come looking for me. Because I knew the truth now. They wouldn't. No one ever had. No one ever will. I stayed in the park, not because I was stuck, not because I wanted to, but because I needed to see what came next. One morning I woke up in the trailer. Everything had reset. Cot made. Binder back on the desk. But the label was different. Mason Euro 5, status active. And scrawled beneath it in handwriting that looked too much like mine. Observation required. Legacy instability possible. I walked to the mirror maze. Glass was clean again. Too clean. I looked inside, half expecting to see him, Euro 5, still standing there. But there was nothing. Only my reflection, breathing in time, mimicking me like it always had. Only now, I wasn't sure who had started the movement. The clown was back too, near the carousel, but it wasn't clapping anymore. Its hands hung limp. Its smile was gone, paint peeled. One eye missing, just watching, tired, like it had seen this all before. And maybe it had. Maybe the park never built anything new. Maybe it just recycled grief, repackaged guilt, polished old screams and wrapped them in new faces. I found another cassette in the trailer. No label, just the tape. I played it, my voice, but not me, not quite. A version of me I didn't remember being. "You've done well," it said. "You've stayed longer than the others. You've made the story last, and then almost tender. But you know how this ends." Turned it off, walked outside, looked at the sky. It was blue. Blue like I hadn't seen since I got here, or maybe since long before. And in that color, in that space between clouds, I felt something close. Not a monster, not a system, just an ending. Now it's quiet, not peaceful, not restful, just blank. I don't know where I am. Not anymore. I think I'm in Sleep Sector 4. Or maybe I'm just a backup file replaying my own thoughts on loop. There's no light here. Not like you'd think. Everything is white but not bright. Just absence. Colorless. Featureless. But somehow alive. Like the air is listening. Like the silence is waiting for you to speak. Just to take something from you. I tried speaking at first. Whispering names. My own. My sister's. My first dogs. But they don't come out right anymore. They arrive scrambled, in pieces, like someone translated them from a language I never knew. Once I said Mason, and a voice answered back, Mason 003 archived. Sometimes I hear others here, not voices, not people, just frequencies. Mason 001 mutters numbers. They don't mean anything. Mason 002 whispers apologies to someone who never answers. Mason 04 doesn't speak at all, just hums. The carousel tune, out of rhythm, out of key. Try not to listen. Their thoughts echo too loudly. I'm not ready to become an echo yet. I still feel small pieces. The crunch of gravel under boots. The hum of the arcade sign at night. The cold metal of the crowbar in my hands. They come in flashes, but they're fading, like someone sanding the details away, leaving only shape, only function. And now there's a new voice. He doesn't hum, doesn't whisper. He paces inside me, like he's reviewing my life frame by frame, annotating, optimizing, refining. He says things like, you could have smiled here. You lingered too long. Try it again, but less fear. He's perfect, polished, synthetic. But you know what? He's afraid of me, of the part of me that won't stop scratching the walls of this place, looking for something to hold on to. I found a crack, just a hairline fracture in the white. Behind it, I saw a screen. One final prompt. Simple, quiet. Do you wish to overwrite active user? Yes. No. I looked down at my hands. They were flickering. My voice was gone, but I still had choice. I reached forward, and I smiled. I pressed yes, not because I believed I'd win, not because I wanted to hurt him, but because I had to know if I was ever really gone. The white shattered, not with sound, but with absence, like silence that folds in on itself. When the light cleared, I was standing at the park gates again. Rusty, familiar, but not the same. There were no guests, no laughter, no music, just the air thick with something final. And standing in the center of the food court was him. He looked tired, not broken, not angry, just confused, like a program running one too many loops. He watched me approach, didn't move, didn't speak. Then finally he whispered, "Why are you still here?" I stepped closer. He blinked slow, like every thought took effort now. I said, "You got everything right." He nodded. I was perfect. I said, "That's why they chose you." He looked up, but I didn't stop. "You didn't bleed. You didn't lose anyone. You've never failed." His lip trembled like he wanted to argue, but he couldn't, because he knew it was true. He was complete, but empty. He reached into his coat, pulled out the old binder, held it out to me. I took it. It felt lighter than I remembered. He said, "You can finish it now." Then he turned and walked into the mirror maze. The glass didn't reflect him. It swallowed him. He never came out. I opened the binder. Blank pages. Just one sentence handwritten across the inside cover. There is no original. Only the one who remains. The trailer was empty. The monitors were off. The reflection in the mirror followed my movements again. For the first time in forever, it waited for me. Not the other way around. And outside, the clown was back. Paint cracking. Hands no longer clapping. Just still. Like even it had nothing left to do. So I sat and waited and breathed. Because sometimes surviving isn't about winning. Sometimes it's about staying. I stayed. Not because I had to. Not because they told me to. But because when everything else was gone, my past, my name, my choices, I still had one thing left. I remained. I walked the park every night. No schedule, no binder, just me, and the sound of my own footsteps echoing through rusted rides and empty booths. The place no longer whispered. No more PA voice. No more rules. No more replacements. Just the quiet relief of being forgotten. One morning I found a new note pinned to the carousel. Typed. Nothing fancy. No signature. You may now exit the simulation. No record will be kept. No one will remember. We thank you for your data. Tore it in half. Let the pieces fall to the weeds. That night the calliope didn't play. Not once. Weeks passed, I think. Maybe months. The sun rose. The sun set. And nothing tried to overwrite me again. Eventually I packed what little I had. Left the trailer key on the cot. And walked out through the main gate. No lights flickered. No warnings. No goodbye. Just as I reached the road, I looked back. And for the first time, I didn't see the park. Just trees. Just fog. Just the space where something used to be. When I got home, if that's what it was, everything felt off. Too clean. Too quiet. My name still worked at the bank. My ID still scanned. But no one recognized my face. Not even the mirror. One night I found a note on my dresser. Typed. Neat. You passed. That was all. No sender. No explanation. Just those 2 words. And beneath it, a photo. Me. Standing at the park gates. Smiling. Alone. Now sometimes I wake up with static in my ears. Sometimes I see flickers in the corner of mirrors. Sometimes I hear my own voice say things I haven't thought yet. But I smile anyway, because I know the truth now. There is no original, only the one who stayed.